Hey, quick question. What do these jobs have in common? Accountant, carpenter, beautician, electrician, photographer, graphic artist, interior designer, choreographer, writer, chef, seamstress. They all work in the Oklahoma film industry. And there's a place for you to join the action. Learn more about starting your film career in Oklahoma by visiting okfilmmusic.org/getting started.
My name is Jeanette Stanton, and I'm the Deputy Director with the Oklahoma Film and Music Office. And we couldn't be more thrilled this year to be supporting deadCenter, and specifically the OF+MO Film School series. Up next, we're going to be having a discussion with Jack and Jenava from Ginger House Designs, who will be talking about costuming and wardrobing. So make sure you stick around, because after the presentation, we'll be doing a live Q&A with these ladies. They've really worked. They have over 20 films under their belt, so we can't wait to hear what they have to say. Make sure you also watch this programming on OFMO's Facebook, where you can live text questions, and we'll get to them as they come. Thanks so much.
Hi, we are Ginger House. I'm Jenava Burguiere.
And I'm Jack O'Dell.
We're costume designers based here in Oklahoma City. We work all over the state. We work as costume designers, wardrobe supervisors, set, key costumers. We do it all. We also own Ginger House, which is a wardrobe company. It's a production service entity for the state, for the film office. We rent out to productions. You know, even if we're not involved in them, we do pass-through services. And we're here to talk about costume design and costuming in film. I first got my start in costuming when I was in high school. I was involved in high school theater. I wanted to be an actor, and then realized that I really preferred the behind-the-scenes aspects. So I started costuming for my high school shows. And decided, you know, maybe I could make a career out of this. I went to the University of Oklahoma for their costume design program, which was in their theater program. So I have a background in theater. I worked in professional theater in Colorado and here in Oklahoma. And then realized that I really had a passion for film. So I transitioned over to film, and that was about 9 years ago. My first film was Yellow, which was a fun experience. Here in Oklahoma, we've been able to design. We've worked on productions big and small. I think I've designed about 15 to 20 films here in Oklahoma over the last 6 or 7 years. So that's been great. It's so nice to be able to come up in a state and in an area that really supports you and allows you to have like the options to be creative, to work in the creative side of film.
My fast track was to fashion. I started my own line when I was 15, started selling it, decided I needed to I wanted to go to college for it, so I went to London. That's where I was cultured more or less, and a lot of detailing on construction, following things like Alexander McQueen and Christian Dior, and I just loved it, all the theatrics of fashion. And then from there I went to LA, and in LA, that's where I won Emerging Designer of the Year in fashion. I got to show at the Mocha. A lot of my stuff was always over the top. It was very costume oriented, very theatrical. And then I realized I didn't really care about fashion. I just wanted to tell a story. So I had to change my career, and I came to Oklahoma because they were filming. I did some styling, I did some videos, and I met Jen on America, and immediately I liked Jen. We make Ginger House, and it's a design group.
My name is Carrie Myers, and I am a set costumer with Ginger House Design. I started with Ginger House Design in 2017 on a movie called Southern Christmas as an additional costumer. After that, we did a movie called Chickasaw Rancher, which we filmed in Ada, Oklahoma. Beautiful, beautiful movie where I was set costumer.
My name is Rachel Craig. I'm a key costumer and Ager Dyer. I started my career in television as a graphic designer. Both my mother and grandmother were costume designers. I then transitioned to music production and stage management, and then I decided I wanted to do something different. And so I started working with Ginger House as a day player, as a set costumer, and then it's all history from there.
In the costume department, you have a bunch of positions. The first most obvious one is the costume designer. That's the creative head of the department. Costuming to me is about character. So what I love about filmmaking, and what I think most people like about filmmaking, is that it's telling a story. We all love stories, and with costuming, the character speaks directly to that story, and the clothing, I think, speaks to that story as well. Because costuming, to me, to Jack, is about character. It's really not about creating a look, it's not about shopping, it's not about fashion, it's about creating a character through clothing. Because costuming is the first thing you see. When you're watching a film, before a character even opens their mouth, you see what they're wearing, and that tells you a lot about them. It'll help actors get into their character. It's all about a collaboration and creating those characters that tell all of the stories that you love to watch.
You want to pull inspiration from everywhere. I often look at just art for colors. I'll look at other images that people have used in Sleeping in Plastic. I had Perla, really wanted Perla to have, that kind of vintage but sexy leopard print, Lolita images from True Romance, and then meshing all these together. Oz, his character, we got Oz last minute. He was going to be somebody else, and we got him, and he was much taller, different shaped body, just kind of a different look altogether. What we wanted for him, was this kind of, rough, sexy, cool, gunslinger style cowboy. At least that's how he looked at himself, and so a lot of what he wore was black, but it was pearl snaps. You want to pull inspiration from everywhere. Van, in fact, was a director who actually, a lot of the visuals he used to explain his vision, pictures of, scenery and perhaps just objects and the lighting and the eeriness of how that object appeared in the setting. He expressed his feelings on what he wanted to see in these characters and the look that he wanted to give. It was very specific looking film. I love making mood boards. It really kind of pulls the character together. It also allows you to have a better idea of how to express to the rest of the team, the rest of the crew, how you see the character. As a designer, you really spend your time collaborating with, the director, the DP, whoever else is heavily involved in kind of the look of the film. You also need to get down to the practical side of the script and break it down.
So one fun film that we produced here last year was called 13 Minutes. And that was an interesting challenge in itself. So 13 Minutes has yet to be released. We're hoping it'll come out soon. But 13 Minutes takes place over the course of one day. So from a costuming standpoint, you might think that, that makes it a lot easier. They're in one outfit all day. But it doesn't. It really doesn't. There's a tornado. We have lots of special effects. There's lots of debris and dirt over the course of one day. So with those characters, we have one chance to tell the audience who they are. And then from there, we're going to need to double that outfit. We're going to need to get stunt versions of that outfit because, they're going to get wet, they're going to get dirty, and we have to show the progression from start to finish, of beginning of day to end of day, over a 5-week shoot. Continuity is a huge, huge part of our department, a huge part of wardrobe. So with 13 Minutes, we had to kind of go in depth with our character research, really collaborate with our director, collaborate with our actors, and see who they think this character is, and where they came from, what they would wear day to day. We have one chance to tell the audience who these characters are. And then we have to then source the costumes. We have to find out where we can get them and where we can get multiples and multiples of this costume. And then on top of that, we have to figure out, what the stunts are, what needs to be covered, because are they going to be wearing pads underneath? Are they getting hit with debris? We have to take all of that into account when we're just thinking about one costume. So it's not as easy. One day is definitely not as easy as it sounds when it comes to costuming. And Where we kind of start on a show like that, or in any show, is a wardrobe breakdown. So with a wardrobe breakdown, you go through the script, you take each character and you go scene by scene and say which change this character would be wearing. So with a normal film, you know, it takes place over weeks or months, so the character changes day to day and you see multiple looks. With a film that takes place over one day, you have to be very detailed in your breakdown so that you know what scene, what happens. So in scene 7, say they get hit with a rock, and so, you know, we're going to see that mark there, so we have to keep note of that, because then, you know, for scene 25, scene 55, we're still going to see that mark there, and then they're going to be even more distressed. So a breakdown is very, very important in that sense. I love doing a wardrobe breakdown. You get to get the full layout, the look of the land. You see from day 1 to script day 12, script day 100, exactly how many changes your character is going to have. You can budget from there, you can create closets from there. So every costume designer likes, approaches it differently. We like to create closets for our characters so that when the actor comes in, they can try on different outfits, different items, and find what speaks to them, because that is so, so important, is how the actor reacts to the costume. Because you want the costume to become a part of them. Then you have your wardrobe supervisor, who's right under the costume designer. They take care of budget, they take care of practical and logistic things. Under them you have the key costumer, who is in charge of getting clothes set every day, making sure everything is where it is supposed to be, making sure that our actors are happy and that they're ready to go.
A day in the life of a key costumer would look something like, what I will do is I will look at the entire shooting schedule for the entire film. And at that point, after I've got grasp on that, we will create tags on each costume for each scene, for each day. And then after that happens, I will then daily look at my call sheets and see what we are looking for at the top of the day. And a lot of times, hopefully, I know the day before, so we'll set a line. They'll have the tags of what scene, what day, each character. The next morning, go in, set the rooms, take the tags, put them up so we know which outfits are out. The actors can then go in their rooms, get dressed, their jewelry's there, their shoes are there, their socks are there. Everything is ready for them.
This lets us know what scenes we're seeing today, who is in each of those scenes. If their change has been set, we circle it. And when it comes back to us,
let me know we're
we cross it off.
When they're done with that scene and have to change, their outfit is there, and then they will leave their previous costume in the room. I will then, as soon as they're changed into their next scene's costume, clear the room, re-tag it, put it back in the line for the next time that they have to use it. And then that goes on all day. And then by the end of the day, I will wash everything, then re-tag it, make sure it's ready for the next day. Then after they're in their last look, we set the line, all the clothes are clean and ready for the next day. And then it just rinse and repeat. We will mark what is brought in, what is out, what is next, and then when it's wrapped. So it's a complete smooth flow all day. When they come back into their dressing room, their next outfit's there. All they have to do is take off their clothes, put it on, put the new outfit on, and then I will then clear it, clean it, get it ready. And so it just makes everything happen really fast.
And then under that you have a set costumer. The set costumer is on set. They take care of continuity, which is a huge, huge part of our department. Everything's filmed out of order, so we've got to make sure all of the costumes match up.
Some things people don't really realize about set costumers is really how grueling and how intense the job can be. You have to be able to carry a lot of weight. One of our main jobs as a set costumer is to keep the actors comfortable. So in the summertime, that consists of cooling towels, fans, extra changes of clothes in case they sweat through what they already have on. In the wintertime, every actor has different coats. We use body warmers, different methods to keep them warm. We have like these really cool electric heated vests that they can wear underneath their clothes. Sometimes whenever you're watching a movie and it looks like it's 80 degrees outside, it's probably like 40. Being a set costumer, you have to be really kind of prepared for anything. We have different kits that we take to set with us. We'll travel with the actors, we meet up with the sound technicians, we work really closely with them, get all the actors wired, and then after they're wired and right before we're about to shoot, that's whenever I would photograph them and upload their photos to our software that we use to track what they wore each day and in each scene. So then whenever we go back to pick up on a scene, we can just look that up and say, oh, well, that's exactly what they had on this day. So in my set bags, I have 3 different bags that I bring to set. One of them is basically like a fix-all type of bag. So I'll have like my tack gun, my chopstick, any of my stain removers, so wet wipes, shout wipes, and makeup wipes. Makeup's always getting on the collar of shirts. Pre-threaded needles, so that whenever I need to just stitch something up, it's already threaded and I can just pull it out and sew a button back on or whatever I need to do there. And then we have an aging bag. So another thing that people don't often realize, we buy all of our clothes brand new and then we have to make them look like they're old. And so often, our Ager Dyer will treat all these clothes offset. And then once the actors come to set, I will have to maintain a certain level of dirt or blood. I have like a blood kit and I have a kit with all of our fake wet stuff in it, which is called Ultra Wet, and it's kind of like a gel that makes it look like they're more wet than they are. On my waist pack, I will carry things I need for my personal self too, like chapstick and sunscreen and maybe like a cooling towel if it's summer. And I'll have extra chopstick, another needle and thread, and a couple of wet wipes in my pocket as well.
Outside of the set costumer, you have additional costumers. When you have background, like 500 background that day, you're gonna bring in some additional costumers to help take care of that.
Hey guys, my name's Matt Duckworth Kirksey, and I work with Ginger House in the costume department. Sometimes. I'm also a musician. I play with a band called the Flaming Lips from here in Oklahoma City. And in my downtime, I've been working on some movies, which has been just a super interesting process. I'm kind of learning as I go. I think I've worked on 3 movies with Ginger House, and yeah, I'm just learning a ton. There's a lot of parallels with the music business that I can kind of draw on. I have people skills. I handle stress well. I can show up at 4 o'clock in the morning for call and treat people with respect and be cool to people, which is more difficult than you might think. I think I kind of have an eye for aesthetic, things like that. But yeah, I'm still learning a ton. Probably one of the things I've learned the most about is being on set, set etiquette. In the music business, it's super DIY. Everyone just kind of has 10 different jobs and helps each other with anything and everything. And the movie biz is a little more departmentalized. My first day on set, I started just grabbing this bale of hay to reset the set, which was not my department, and I got scolded for that, so I'm kind of trying to learn to stay in my lane, focus on what I'm there to do, because there's so many people working together and everybody has their own job, and it's been really cool, really interesting to learn that. If I had any advice, I would just say be humble, listen, soak up everything that you can, say yes to every opportunity, and learn as you go.
And then outside of those positions, you have more specific positions, like a seamstress who's going to be there to do alterations or builds. You have a shopper who's just there to shop. You're going to have an Ager Dyer, who is, an Ager Dyer's job is so important because they make new things look like they've been worn before. So like on a film like 13 Minutes, where it all takes place in one day, an Ager Dyer is very important because we have so many multiples of the same costume. The Ager Dyer is going to be in charge of each step of that look, making sure that we've got the right marks everywhere they're supposed to be and that those marks are on every costume.
And on 13 minutes, Rachel, our Ager Dyer, had to do it was about anywhere from 3 to 4 sets of the same exact look.
I break down clothes, but then I also have to have the ability to bring them back so we can use them again. Say in Chickasaw Rancher, we have rented a whole bunch of clothes that had to be returned exactly as we rented them. So I would break them down and figure out how to then bring them back so we could return them properly. So I learned about using products like schmear and then even natural products like cocoa powder and whatever it is and natural dirt as well, and then protect the clothes to a level to then I could bring them back and return them in perfect condition. And then I just really fell in love with that craft and worked with that and developed that as much as I could. On 13 minutes, we filmed out of sequence, and so we would have wet, dry, dirty, clean, completely destroyed. So we would have multiples of the clothes so that we could then decide where they fit in that show. And so say for the wet, it was very cold outside when we filmed, so I figured out that we treat them with mineral oil and glycerin and ultra wet, and then we can save them so they didn't have to be doused with water every time. The dirty clothes, we just kept that completely separate, so we would have it, and then we could still wash it and maintain that continuity. As a key costumer and as an Ager Dyer, continuity is just our #1 situation of making sure the right clothes are in the right place and everything is maintained to make sure the timeline runs correctly.
And so one thing about getting into the film industry and working your way up is telling people that you're working with, like, hey, oh, you're from New York, you're from LA, you're from New Mexico. If you ever have an open spot for me, I would love to come work with you, and if you show initiative and work hard for them, they'll call you when they have a spot for you and ask you to travel out. And that's what happened to me. And so I've just been in New Mexico ever since. I love to come back to Oklahoma and work on movies.
Me and Jack were working on one of Mickey Reese's films recently, and I was the only costumer on set, and we had these 8 nuns that had their white collars and white hats and everything. And we were doing a scene with blood, and we thought maybe the blood was going to get on 1 or 2 nuns. First take, boom, blood everywhere, all over all the nuns. I had to figure out how to move the nuns around so we couldn't see the blood, and then how to get them out of their costumes, get their costumes cleaned and dried for the next scene, which started 30 or 45 minutes later. It was crazy. I was going crazy, but that's kind of what it's about, is being able to roll with the punches, not get too stressed out. The Ginger House people have been super helpful and super fun to work with, and I'm having a great time. I'm learning a ton, and I just would encourage anybody who's interested to just dive in head first and say yes to everything.
I love the challenge. I love being a hero. My favorite story ever from any set is on a film called Turkey Bowl. And we had already wrapped out an actress. There was a scene where she flings her panties at someone. It's a comedic thing. The director had allowed her, because she was wrapped, to take the costume piece. And then on our last wrap day, last shot of last day, he was like, oh, we want to reshoot that scene. But the item was no longer in our possession. So my solution was, my undershirt was the same color. I took it off, sewed a pair of panties out of it on set, and they didn't know it wasn't the same thing. My passion in this is problem solving. Give me something that's impossible. Nothing makes me happier than them not even knowing it's an issue. Them not even knowing that there's a problem there. And just solving it, and it's there, and it's done. And that's my, the biggest high I could get from anything. It's amazing.
Okay, so after, if you've listened to this, you've watched this class, and you think, yes, I want to be a costumer, we would love that. We would love to have more costumers here in Oklahoma. It's such a fun job. We've been doing it for so many years now, and the industry here is just taking off. So this is a perfect time to get into it. Backgrounds, Jack being from fashion, I'm from theater. It just kind of shows you that if you care about character, you don't have to have either of our backgrounds, really. If you want to work in costuming, if it's something that's passionate to you, if you're dedicated, you can work in costuming. The main thing is it's about character. We're trying to tell a story, the most important part of any costume design for any film. If you are thinking about costuming and you're thinking, oh, shopping sounds fun. Oh, this sounds like a glamorous job. It's just keep in mind that costumes are heavy. Clothing is heavy. We have
a very physical job.
We have a very physical job. We're on our feet for 12 to 15 hours a day. Shopping, you're walking for 12 to 15 hours a day. There's a lot of hard work that goes into costuming. Yeah. And there's a lot of logistics. It's not a job about clothing. It's really not. The clothing is our tool, really. Clothing is a costumer's tool. It's not the main part of our job. It's just what we use to tell a story. I do costuming, even though it's hard, even though the hours are long. It can be 115 degrees outside. It can be 12 degrees outside and we're filming. It's a challenge every day. You have to be able to problem solve.
You collaborate with multiple departments on various things.
You work with different people every job. You go to new places every time, and I love that. You get to tell a story. You get to help tell a story, and hopefully it's a good one. You get to be an artist. But you got to be a hard-working artist. We have a lot of fun. There's us. There's Ginger House. There are other amazing costumers and costume designers in the state of Oklahoma.
Right. And we've got the union coming and the incentive, and things are just growing. It's exciting here.
Yes. So if you would like to be a costumer designer, we would love
to have the opportunity to meet you.
We would love to meet you because it's a great time to get into film right now. I think we've got nowhere to go but up.
Yeah.
The state of Oklahoma, we're on the rise. Costuming is the best department. It is. It's the best department. It's the most fun.
I don't even know if I agree with that.
Hi, welcome back. Well, that was amazing. A wealth of knowledge and information. You ladies are certainly so experienced in your field, so I'm so excited to have this opportunity to talk with you because fashion is something that I love. So I'm definitely not like you guys, but I can't wait to just dive in. So Jack, Jenava, Ginger House Designs, they're going to talk to us about costuming and wardrobe, and so let's just get started. So we learned a little bit about you guys from the video. Thank you so much. But can you tell me, you went to school in Oklahoma, not in Oklahoma, you lived in LA some. Jack, you want to go first?
I'm from Oklahoma, but I left London and started my fashion degree, and went from London to LA to finish it. There I got a line and became Emerging Designer of the Year in 2009 with Chris and Jack. And then decided that I didn't want to do fashion anymore, and I wanted to make costumes and tell stories. So I came back, and that's how I got into film.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And what about you?
I was involved in theater from like a young age, and always loved the costuming aspect of it. So I decided to go to OU for the costume design program. Which was great, and there I met people who brought me into film. My first film was Yellow, which Elizabeth Wheat brought me onto, and that was 9 years ago. So since then, it's just, we just have so much film happening here. But with a background in theater, it really kind of helps develop, like, you know, my love of character and my sense of story. So it's really great us working together because we come from such different backgrounds.
Yes, you do. Very, very interesting. And obviously, you guys, I took a look at your credits, and you've got over 20-ish films under your belt, just all here in Oklahoma.
projects,
yeah.
So it's booming. And I forgot to add, thank you so much for coming in this morning, because you guys were up late working on a film right now called Family Camp, and you guys are doing the costume and wardrobing for that, or just the...
Go ahead, Jen.
I'm the wardrobe supervisor. on
Okay,
Family
nice.
Camp, so,
Okay.
yes,
And how is that? How's everything going?
It's going really great. It's been a really fun time. We're shooting almost all at a camp. So it's kind of like
nice.
going back to camp. We're up in like Guthrie, and right now we're shooting nights. So it's it's fun though.
Awesome. So what, Jennifer, what inspires you to continue to work in this industry?
Well, one, I don't think I could do anything else. I love that film is constantly changing. You know, I love that it's a different experience on every film set. You meet new people. You meet
New challenges.
Yeah, new challenges.
New places.
Definitely. And, you know, like with each film, it presents a new challenge. So it's not the same thing day in and day out, which I couldn't work in a cubicle or an office. Right. So to me, it just, it's constantly like, you know, having to problem solve and constantly, you know, just use my my creative skills, and I love that. I love the collaboration that happens in film between, you know, us and the actors and us and directors and production designers.
There's a puzzle piece, putting puzzle pieces together, and it's always different in each film. And so it uses, you know, not only your creative side, but also kind of your like
analytical.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
When you're keeping like, you know, your continuity together, and then like, you know, everything kind of coming in, you know, at like the right time and whatnot. It's kind of challenging. So it and like you said, every time is different.
Yeah.
So for those people, because we're trying to encourage people to really jump into this industry, and so that's why we've picked such a diverse set of departments. And so if someone new, let's just say graduating from high school or getting ready to graduate from college, Jack, what do they need to do? Like, how do they get started? What is the best thing that they can do? If you could give advice to anyone.
Honestly, you know, like Matt had said in the video, it's just, you know, it's saying yes to any opportunity, being available at the drop of a hat, and that's hard for a lot of people. Really, I tell anybody, if you can even just intern,
Right.
usually once you get started there, and people can see that you're, you know, proactive and you show up, and you know, and that you listen, and that you you know, pay attention. Once they see that, everybody wants you, because it's hard to find good work anywhere. And so, you know, if like Carrie, she didn't want to necessarily be in costume, she wanted to be more in art, but she started with us. And now works on Better Call Saul and in art, and so it's like, you know, but she was proactive and said yes to everything, and nothing was too small or too big, and I feel
Being open-minded,
Yes.
opportunities lead to other opportunities.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I also think, you know, we can teach you how to sew on a button. You know, if you don't know how to sew, if you don't know that much about clothing, it's like that's stuff that can be taught. But what we can't teach, and we always say that, it's like we can't teach hard work. We can't teach how to be a go-getter. You know, so if you have those, you know, like those skills, like
Sky's the limit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Then you can come into any department and you can like make waves. You can be successful, and then learn as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
So is there something that you guys haven't gotten to do yet that you're just like, this is the top, this is where I want to be, this is the experience that I want?
We wanted to do a series.
Oh yes,
Series?
we'd love
Okay.
to do a series. Hopefully, we're getting more series here
Yeah.
in Oklahoma. We've done a web series, the Beverleys,
It was a fun
which is a
child.
fun kid show. a series would be wonderful. We've designed a couple westerns, which was always on the top of my list. So
Period pieces,
Yes.
always period pieces, I think, of some sort, or just, yeah.
period
We
pieces.
love kind of epic.
And those present their own challenges compared to
Can't
contemporary
only
work.
imagine, yeah.
I'd love to do something that's like 1940s. That would be fun.
Very cool. Yeah. So how does one sell their work? So you guys are constantly, I mean, you have a website, you work together, you obviously have experience under your belt, but how does a costumer sell their expertise to somebody? Is it word of mouth primarily, or
I think it's
do you have to have a
everything.
portfolio up
I mean,
or
it
ready to go?
matters on who. Of course, it matters on who is like you're going to be getting the job with, and like what kind of, whether or not they look at your IMDb or whether they don't care and they just like it's your interview with them, or if it's just word of mouth from someone that they respect that said, work with this person. And I think that that's probably pretty big with us is word of mouth, just because we do show up and we bring a strong team, and we finish the film every time.
Yeah.
So right. And we try to be a good to work with. So I think that a lot of ours has come from that. And,
I think, yes, word of mouth is definitely important, and it just depends on the job, really. I mean, there have only been maybe a couple, maybe one or two films that have like asked for a portfolio.
Okay.
Really what they look for is kind of, if they ask to see something before a job interview, it's a lookbook for that film. So they want to see, what your idea, what your vision is.
And that's a good segue to a question. So someone that knows nothing about this, so are you presented the script and then you read it through and have your own vision of what the characters should be wearing, and then work with the director, I'm guessing,
yes,
to make sure that all the details are there and make sure that their vision is also represented? Is that kind of so you have to do a lot of reading, I'm guessing?
Yes, a lot of reading. I mean, it starts out like usually, we're given a script before we sign on to a film.
Okay.
And, that gives us a chance to read it and see if it's a project that, we want to be a part of. And from there, you kind of go into a breakdown. You make sure, get character lookbooks together, inspiration, and talk with the director about like what his vision is. What does he or she see for these characters? And then, from there, you do a wardrobe breakdown. You do all the logistical work.
So it sounds like you have to be very open-minded too, because I can see how you could get very attached to some of these characters, and this is how you see them presented, and then someone could come in and say, well, I don't see it that way. So it sounds like you have to be very open-minded and flexible, and with still having your work ethic be there. So all those things. So
I mean, as a costume designer, that's one of the things that you do is a lot of meetings. Especially at the beginning, before you start filming. Obviously, like you said, it goes with the director, and then you want to. It's who has the money, so it could be the producers, or whatever, and then you want to talk to the art department and make sure that you're not going to be clashing colors. And then the actors come in, and
they have their own
vision.
Yes.
Vision, and we've completely had to remake a character because an actor is just like, that's just not how I see it, and that's fine. That's one of the reasons we do it is collaboration, and I think that that's the fun part, because if we had made them what we wanted and only what we wanted, it wouldn't have played out as well. So it kind of becomes this bigger bigger project, this bigger kind of piece of art project that.
And one of my favorite parts of the process is the fitting with the actor, because a lot of times we'll have correspondence with them before we actually get to see them, and we've built their closet. But when they come in and they get to start trying things on, hopefully if it goes well, they start trying things on and they come out and they're like, yes, this feels right. And that's just so like rewarding. When they get excited,
starting to come to life.
Yes, exactly. That's one of my favorite parts of the process.
Nice. Yeah. So speaking to the student out there that's trying to, making their own short film, they haven't graduated from college maybe yet, because costuming cannot be cheap. I can't imagine. What's some advice you could give them, like to keep it under, you know, a good small budget? If it's just like a kid trying to make a film, and like, where should they go? What's your recommendation when you guys were just starting out?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've worked on a couple, like especially when we started, very small budget shows, and thrifting. Thrifting is like such an important part of what we do, even if it's like a bigger show to a smaller show. What's great about thrift shops is you get clothes that are already worn in. They already have that look and feel. Also on low budget, you know, we'll ask actors to bring in stuff that they have, so we can kind of all work together,
right,
and create something.
And we have strong relations with, you know, various theaters and store owners and even collectors, and so, you know. And we have a warehouse and a collection, so
we saw it in the video, right? It's pretty extensive.
So you know, like keeping really good relations, and you know, when we do bigger budgets, we are able to help, you know, those people we rent from. But sometimes when it's smaller, we're like, hey, you know, and they're just like
relationship for sure.
Yeah, it's still amazing, you know.
Questions.
Awesome. So we have some Facebook questions, so let's see what they are.
Okay, so the first question is from Beth Bennett. Where do you recommend taking local preparatory classes for costuming?
Local preparatory classes for costuming.
There's not enough.
There's not a lot of preparatory classes.
I mean, not for costuming in film. We were hoping, like, you know, I know there's been a lot of talk that, you know, we're getting more educational opportunities.
We have
here.
the Film Academy is starting up, so we're really
Mm-hmm.
hoping, you know, to get some costuming classes in there.
I
mean, the best way to learn costuming is to just be on a film set.
Yes.
And yeah, like we said, the best way to do that is to be an intern.
Are you guys? Can people contact you through your website
definitely.
about interning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we get.
So it's gingerhousedesign.com.
.org. Gingerhouse.org.
Gingerhouse.org. Perfect. Yeah.
And you can find us on Facebook as well.
Awesome.
Another question is, you know, with the buzz about Killers of the Flower Moon coming, is that something you all would want to work costumes on? A project of that size, scale, period?
Yes.
Of course.
Of course. It's a big period show. We were contacted for it, so we're hoping that it comes back.
It has huge departments. Like, it has its own, like, aging and dying section, which Rachel was on the video, and she's, you know, she's one of our only in the union from Oklahoma that's Ager Dyers, and I mean, like, that's just a dream job for her. So
and it's a show where they're building so many costumes, and the costume designer on that, Sandy Powell, is an Academy Award winner. Like, yes, I would like to work with her.
Very nice.
Those are the questions that have come through.
Thank you. Well, ladies, it was awesome to talk with you guys. It was good to know you a little bit about what you do, and this is so wonderful, and I'm so glad you can share with the audience. So thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
Good luck on family camp.
Oh, thank you.